Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So happy that you found your way here. Today's video is a current events piece and it's triggered by the current events quite literally. So we'll be diving a little bit into the European parliamentary election and having a look around the world at what's being restructured and how things are coming together. And before I do that though, as always, I'd like to inform you of events that I will be hosting. Two of them that are coming up. One is June 18th. Please be there with us. That is with Kertrice Goddard. And she is hosting an activation, a live activation together in a private Zoom group. This is an offering from her heart. So no cost involved. Donation are accepted and welcome though. And then on June 23rd, I'll be hosting a Jaguar healing ceremony, where we're working with the energies of the Jaguar. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be really beautiful too. So welcome you to either one. And I'm excited with Kertrice's. I'm super excited. And I feel like that's going to be a really beautiful mind expanding, heart expanding, unifying event. So please be there. Okay, so let's dive in. Why am I doing this video? Because crazy things are happening around the world, and I want to take a quick peek with you guys. So the European parliamentary elections were on this past Sunday, June 9th, and the results are still coming out. Most countries have already counted all of their votes, but some countries are still counting. However, the way it's looking right now is that there was a shift to the far right. Scandinavian countries did shift to the far left, voted far left, but Central European countries such as Austria, Germany, France, Belgium, they went far right as well as some other ones. So France, though, probably did the biggest step because it led to President Macron dissolved his parliament and is now holding new votes for a new legislative assembly and is hosting those votes will be held June and July. So interesting. And his party was annihilated by the far right, the ultra right. And there are a lot of reasons why people are voting right in Europe right now. But it is seen as, once again, an easy solution to complex problems, complex global problems, as people kind of refuse to understand that we're all part of a global community and no longer isolated little city states that just do their own thing. Fending for themselves. But there are reasons why people believe it is so and why they can't see the connections. And that definitely has to do with politics and should not be. So in a way, this is raising valid concerns to be addressed. And that's another problem, is that the concerns of the people, the actual concerns of the people, are being addressed by far right parties, and they're not laughing at them. They're not laughing at their concerns. They're not laughing at their issues. They're taking these issues seriously, and they're using it as a kind of a Trojan horse to pack in their agendas, which is, of course, ultra far right, and which most people wouldn't vote for if they weren't addressing the issues that they feel go unaddressed by all the other mainstream parties. So it's a complex situation because it's not just about migrants, even though the press will tell you it's all about migrants. And that's what a lot of it is hanging on, is a migrant issue in Europe, and how that's being dealt with. And so much to say around that topic. And I already did a video on the rise of the far right, so you might want to go check it out. But there's also the concern about women, right? Traditional family structures, traditional family values, and that's something that the far right has definitely also picked up on, that's important to people, whereas the more liberals are they would continue to do business as usual. But women are really saying, you know what, we don't want to live like this anymore. And that's part of the allure of the far right, which is upholding traditional family structures and the value of woman homemaker. So there's also that, right? And this is a worldwide topic because the same topics are coming up around the world. And we're going to have a look also into the US elections once again, because things always shift and change there a little bit. I don't feel like from my previous video that too much has changed yet, but I do feel that in September, maybe I didn't put that in the previous video, I should have, but in September, October, some kind of a news is going to come out that is going to push the vote again to the right. Why? Because because it's the swing of the pendulum, and that's what we're going to have a look at here, the swing of the pendulum. And what do I mean by that? Because the intention is not for liberals It never was the intention that this world goes left, not by the planners that be, right? It's our choice as a collective humanity, but by the planners that be that are creating these structures, the intention is to go to the right, which is exactly where the pendulum is swinging back right now. So when we think of 1984, remember that George Orwell and Ian Fleming, who wrote the Bond books, James Bond books, but both of them worked in the intelligence units, intelligence agencies in the UK during World War II. And through that work, they were privy to a lot of plans, informations, ideas, concepts, you name it. And some of them were so outrageous to them, so horrendous to them, they had to get it off their soul by putting it into book form. So that's how 1984 came about, where George Orwell wrote down in that novel several, things that were really on the table during those times. Same thing with Ian Fleming in his James Bond books. He packed into fiction characters and plans and plots and all kinds of things that he actually experienced in his time working there. So in 1984, and I'll just show you the map here. If you haven't seen the movie or read the book, please read the book. But in 1984, there were three major zones that the world was divvied up into. And so this is a map of that. So this is a map of the three major zones in the book 1984. And if you guys remember, in 1984, these zones were all constantly warring each other, and nobody ever knew like how long the war would last, how long they were really at war with each other, because it was these three zones were constantly perpetually shifting alliances and warring against each, it was usually two against one, and usually it would be, oh, this, they're the enemy, and then they would lie and say, no, they've never been not the enemy, they've always been our friends, and then it would change again. And so people were really messed up, and they didn't really know anymore who was at war with who and why. And so we see the three major zones here. We have Oceania in black, and then we have Eurasia in red and East Asia in yellow, right? So those were in the book, those were the three major zones. Now, what I found interesting was that, if you go if you go now onto a world map and you can see these blue zones here, that would be NATO, and the red zone is the emerging BRICS, okay? And BRICS, of course, goes over to Asia. For some reason, I can't, there we go, okay. So BRICS are the red zones here, the red countries, and we're also missing Saudi Arabia, that is new in BRICS. And what's interesting is that this state right here, this country right here, this blue one right here, that's called Turkey. And guess what happened? Well, the Kremlin welcomed Turkey's reported desire to join BRICS. Now, this is the first time that a NATO country is joining in any kind of Eastern alliance like that, right? So it's interesting, but Turkey's fed up of trying to join the EU, but they're going to have issues joining the EU for various reasons. But not the least, the reasoning of, and this has been an age-old reason, their religious background, right? So it's how, yeah. So yeah, of course, Russia saying, come, we welcome you with open arms. And I mean, Russia and Turkey have been tight for a long time. And tight. It's one of the countries Russians love to go to vacation in. They were also a kind of mediator for a while in the beginning, when the Ukrainian conflict kind of first really started. So it's interesting, right? So that's happening. So we have the two zones, BRICS and NATO, that are crystallizing out. And over in the third zone in 1984, we had a couple of weeks ago, this is somewhat older news, but a couple of weeks ago, there were elections in Taiwan, right? I told you this year is election year worldwide. So 2024 elections in Taiwan, and they voted for leaders that do not accept that Taiwan is a country that belongs to China. They feel that Taiwan is an independent country. So Taiwan voted for leaders that affirmed the notion that Taiwan is independent. Of course, China is not in agreement with this, so they sent dozens of warplanes and ships near Taiwan to show its anger over island's new leaders. Taiwan was surrounded by Chinese ships and planes, 49 Chinese warplanes, 19 Navy vessels, Coast Guard vessels. 35 of the planes flew across the median line in the Taiwan Strait. So that's interesting. You know, of course, Taiwan is has agreements with the US, right? But the US can't be everywhere, right? So we have the Middle East, we have Russia, we have the Eastern front. So things are getting kind of interesting for the US, right? So there's a lot of fires burning there. So there's a lot happening and there's a lot going on, and it feels like, where are we headed? Where is this going? And remember, the pendulum swing that I was telling you about was that the pendulum was pulled all the way to the left, all the way to the left, where the left lost sight of the middle and the middle lost sight of the left. And people were wondering, where is this going? This makes no sense to me anymore, what they're doing. Because you release that pendulum and it swings. If it was all the way in the left, where does it swing when the pendulum is released? You got it. And that's where they want it to be. And as I stated before, the right is a much deeper, lower, slower vibration. And this is not negative or positive. It just is. It's all about security. It's about stability. It's about longevity. It's about long lastingness. It's about traditions. It's about moving slower, right? And which is fine. And it's good, as well as the left, which is about progressiveness, which is about openness, which is about looking into the future and things of that nature, right? So, but that energy of the far right is exactly where they want us, so that they can then implement these structures that I've been saying for years. They want us there. They want us to ask for it. They want us to beg for it, because they're looking at, okay, how can we make these changes that we want to make? How can we do what we need to do? And how can we get, people to support another conflict? Yeah. And the way things are now, we've made them too liberal, and that was intentional. They won't support another conflict that we get into openly. It's not going to happen. There are going to be riots at home. There are going to be demonstrations. There are going to be all kinds of things. People are not going to sign up or enlist. They're not going to send their children. They're going to evacuate and leave the country and go to Mexico. They're not going to support this. So how do we get people to support this? And one of the major ways is evoking a sense of nationalism, national pride, national allegiance, aligning themselves to something. So believe you me when I say, as much as they go against the big orange man, they don't, that direction is still on the cards and on the table for the US, in a sense, not necessarily with that specific leader, but that direction of things to go into. Now, for people to want that, to have that desire in them, but to be led by something blue, because the progression, right, moving into the future. So for the other countries, though, like Europe, Canada, these kind of things, it's going to move more into the red, because it has to, for them to get people to be more aligned to their countries, connected to their countries again, willing to support their countries in open conflict, wanting to sacrifice as well, right? To sacrifice, and to do that consistently over time. We have to feel connected to something. We have to feel like this is an expression of self. And so that's another thing, to get people connected to that. I'm trying to be very careful in how I express this, because I don't want this video taken down again. So forgive me if I'm having a hard time here. And I've been saying this for quite some time, that a new regime, a new setup, a new construct is coming. And that this is what is desired, is that it's more right, it's more authoritarian, it's more fascist, because that's the only form that is going to carry through tough times. And So everybody, all these countries are looking over to the Great Red Dragon and they're seeing, oh, wow, look at how they're doing it and how they're getting things done in no time. And how can we get people to vote for that? How can we get people to want that in our Western democracies? So, wow, okay, we have to fight for our values. We have to, people feel like they have to fight for their country, their lifestyle. They make people fight for basics. And they put an enemy on the map that's not really an enemy. They make things happen that makes people have to stand up and push back and have to ask for certain things to be implemented, which eventually further down the line will be used against all people and not just certain people. So I'm pretty sure you figured it out what I'm trying to say. And let's have a look with the cards and see what is actually, going to happen and what the result of this parliamentary vote in Europe will be, if anything new is coming up for the US, and how generally speaking things are going to turn out for us. Vote. Yeah. The first card is the Tower. Yeah. This is the first card is the Tower. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Dang. Okay. So we've got the Tower. So things are crumbling. This is the old structure that is crumbling, the old structure that is coming down, that has to come down as well. And in a way, the old version of things, the old way of going about things, the old structures and systems are seen as the Tower of Babel. A lot of promises, but we never quite reach the clouds. And so people are celebrating this burn down. They're feeling like, but those that built this structure, created this structure, they're fearing a mob rule. They're fearing a mob rule, and it's a kind of energy again, as in 70s, 90s, 1790s Paris. I don't know. I'm sure some of you astrologers are out there, so let me know if there are any correlations between 1790s France and the Revolution France, or the late 1700s and these times, because I'm seeing it right here in this card. Okay. So these structures are coming down. People are just about to burn down the house. And they know that they wanted to get people to that space and to that stage, and for them to be asking for certain things to be implemented, which will lead to further regulations, right? Regulations around traveling, immigration, all these things are going to be coming up on the table again and being revised, and they're going to be acting like, oh, the people wanted it. We're doing what the people want. And they voted for these right-wing parties that are not wanting certain things to happen. So we heard your message and we're going to take action on that. So that leads to further restrictions and further regulations and further like all of that. And they're doing it in the name of the people that asked for it. So it's, what can I say? You guys, every single time people fall for it. At this point, I'm thinking, what humanity gets. Every single time, it never fails. Every time, oh, yay, easy solution, complex problem, multiple parts, moving parts. I don't care. And ramifications for my children, children, I don't care. So it's I want a solution now, 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 now. And that solution would be to align yourself to highest, but here we are. So don't mind me venting a little bit. Here we have the King of Pentacles, and this represents stable structures, right? The King of Pentacles represents, similar to the Emperor, stability. It is the Pentacles, it's the earth element, stability, stable structures, things that don't really move much, but people are also looking for a stable leader. They're really wanting the Messiah right about now. They're wanting that stable leader energy, and that's so this also represents the King of Pentacles traditions, tried and true. Remember that the right represents traditions, tried and true. So what's coming out after is the Six of Wands, and this represents winning. Yeah. So it's literally saying that the old is crashing down, the right, or the direction of traditions and tried and true, is winning. Six of Wands. Okay. This is going to open up a new vision of the future, Three of Wands, and it's going to go down that route a little bit more. Okay, so let's have a further look here. Europe, and I'm just going to pull one card for each country. What's the future of these three main countries that, so I'm just going to look at Germany, Austria, and France, because that went into the right. Germany, Austria, France. Germany, we've got the Page of Pentacles. So they're very careful about the message that they're putting out there and the steps that they're taking to move forward into the future. They're really having a look at things, they're testing things, not really committing to anything because the pages don't really commit. The Page of Pentacle does, but more than the others, but not like a queen or a king is committed, right? So it feels as if they're kind of still eyeing the scenario and the situation, and they're more focused on creating a new economy. Page of Pentacles, new, right? So economic things. That's what they're more focused on, but they're also focused on the message that they're putting out there. And so they're kind of holding themselves back. There's a withholding energy where they're kind of just standing back and watching and learning to see what happens. When it comes to Austria, Austria is just stuck in a loop. They don't know which way is up, which way is down. This is the hangman energy. And they're kind of doing their own thing over there. And kind of there's a lot of debate and a lot of talk, but there's no real action that's coming out of Austria. When it comes to France, we've got the 10 of Pentacles, and this has to do with legacy and inheritance. So this is interesting. A legacy and inheritance and longevity and long-term things, that's what they're going to be focusing on. Let me get a clarification for France, please. What does this 10 of Pentacles mean? Ace of Wands, they're ready for a fresh start and a new beginning. Now, France was one of the heavy colonizers compared to, for example, Austria or Germany. Germany had two colonies in Africa, one in East Africa and one on the west coast of Africa, Southern Africa, Namibia. France, though, as we all know, and England pretty much colonized the world, and along with Spain. So, and Belgium. But yeah, anyways, Netherlands. But it feels as if they're really looking at their legacy of that. Okay, that's what I'd say. Like the because what's coming from the past behind this colonial legacy, that are they going to pass this on? So this moment is also a breaking of that cycle. This moment in France's history, in France's timeline, in France's karmic cycle is kind of a breaking, because the next thing that comes up is the Ace of Wands. And remember, the aces are always fresh starts, new beginnings. So something is resetting here in the karmic cycle of France. Something is resetting. Something has almost balanced, or they have the opportunity to balance it based on the legacy that they're going to be creating moving forward. So this is energetically, it's a pivotal moment in France's history. Absolutely pivotal. They can accept this new staff and this new way forward with grace, but we'll see what they actually do. But the Ace of Wands is also indicating, again, revolutionary energies that are rising. It's really cooking underneath the straits. It's cooking underneath France. There's a lot of pent-up energy that is just looking for an outlet to get out. It could also indicate a difficult summer for France, a heated summer for France, especially if with the elections that are going to happen twice. There could be events that pop up around that. But in any case, that legacy, right, which is what I got to it because France had the 10 of coins and the Ace of Wands, which is also, wands are desires, right? So desires for a new legacy, desire for a fresh chapter, desire to just start over and move forward into something else and different. And they will have that opportunity to do that. This is the opportunity to do that, quite literally. This is an opportunity, and maybe Macron is seeing it, right? Alrighty, so let's have a look at the US and what kind of a message, because we know there's a message. Something's going to come out. Something's going to come out September, October, around that time, maybe July, August. Nah, not July, August, September, October, which is going to like tip the scales. So September, October, November, United States of America. America. We've got the Chariot in September, moving forward. Everything is moving forward according to plan. We've got the Seven of Pentacles in October, things slowing down, and Two of Wands, the house is on fire, fresh look, fresh outlook, fresh start, looking at new possibilities. Now, is there even going to be an election in November in the US? That's a question that a lot of people have because it's gotten to the point of being so ridiculous, nobody can take this seriously anymore. And that's what I've been speaking about, like back in 2016, 2018, 2020, is that this is the goal, is to make this so ridiculous that people don't believe in it anymore and they cry for a different system, a system that can clean up and create order out of chaos because, orderliness is next to godliness. We people we're too see-through, man. We're too see-through. We're too see-through. So will there even be an election in the US in November? And we've got the Seven of Cups, Knight of Swords, Hanged Man, Six of Swords, Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. Okay. I'm going to stop at the Ten of Pentacles, yeah? So will there be an election in the US in November? We've got the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups has to do with illusions, illusions, delusions, indecision, indecisiveness. Then we have the Knight of Swords, which is fast-moving energy, argumentative energy, warring energy as well. We've got the Hanged Man. So I feel, this is interesting. Then we have the Six of Swords, overseas travel. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. Who I feel, will there be an election in the US? It's saying yes, but these are fake elections that have no bearing. And what might be happening around that time is an escalation in things and happenings overseas, or, more stories around overseas involvement or things of that nature in US elections. So there may be news coming out about hostile, things getting involved some way, somehow in influencing the election. A lot of news, but there's an eerie quiet around this election in November. There's an eerie quiet, and it feels like nothing really changed or changes. It just, there's more of the same. Something continues. Okay. So that's what I'm going to say to that. But yes, there will be an election, but it's a fake election. It's a fake election with the Seven of Cups. This is, you guys can look it up, Seven of Cups, illusion, delusion. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is escalation. We have things not changing, the Hanged Man. We have the Six of Swords, overseas or travel or something further away. And we have Ten of Cups, Pentacles, which is also tradition and something that doesn't really change. So that's what's coming up. And so it may be, I don't see the US in any kind of open conflict towards the end of the year. Are going to continue with the way things are going now. But the things that are happening that everybody's invested into and involved in may escalate. They may escalate a little bit around that time just to keep things spicy, Okay, anyways, we'll dive into more of these circus and charades. And maybe next week or the week after, but we'll see as the need arises. But I just felt I needed to get this off my chest and to have a look at things that are, might be happening here that are not in our benefit, and to keep an eye open. I keep an eye open, see what's going on. Thanks for watching, you guys. And don't forget to sign up for the Jaguar Healing Ceremony and the activation with Kertrude Goddard, as well as book your session, your personal session with me, so we can see what's going on in your life and how that can benefit you and the positive directions that you can take and move forward in. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.